Hello again, everybody. Welcome to USA Wrestling Weekly. I'm Scott Casper. It's time for this week's news from USA Wrestling, the national governing body of our sport. Well, it was a week ago the U.S. Olympic team trials took place in Iowa City, and at the end of that event, 16 athletes earned the singular honor to represent the U.S. at the 2012 London Olympic Games. This week, the U.S. added another weight class to the Olympic men's freestyle team. Shawn Bunch qualified our nation to wrestle in London at 132 pounds. Bunch had a tremendous performance, placing third at the World Games qualifying tournament in Taiwan, China. At this event, an athlete must have placed in the top three to qualify their nation for the Olympics. Well, the action in the tournament was intense as Bunch won 5 of 6 bouts during the day to emerge with a true third place. Shawn opened with wins over Canada's John Pineda and Moroccan Radouane Ouled Bentel. In the next round, Bunch lost a tough match to Korea's Sung Chol Lee in 3 periods. Not yet vanquished, Shawn's future was now in the hands of the Korean. If Lee reached the finals, then Bunch would be pulled back into the repechage. Lee did just that. Bunch had a new life and won 3 straight tough bouts to get to the qualification spot. Victories over Munyar Aktas of Turkey and Fang Gao of China put Bunch into the true third-place match. He defeated Bazar Bazgurav of Kyrgyzstan in 3 periods, winning 2 periods by scoring takedowns from the clinch. The former Edinburgh All-American and 2009 U.S. World Team member got the job done under tremendous pressure. I talked with a jet-lagged Bunch the morning after he arrived back from China.
I mean, it was a real tough competition. A lot of tough guys that still haven't qualified. It's a lot of pressure on you going into the last qualifier. You still have like Olympic silver medalists, world medalists still there trying to all qualify. But you just gotta stay focused and beat the pressure and qualify weight, take care of business like I did.
Well, the story really doesn't even end there. The 132-pound spot on the U.S. Olympic team will be determined in a secondary Olympic trials at a date and location to be named later. First, 2011 World Team member Reese Humphrey and the former Ohio State star, and 2012 U.S. Olympic team trials champion Coleman Scott, a past NCAA champ for Oklahoma State. Well, those two will have to compete in a preliminary bout. The winner of that match will then face Bunch in a best-of-3 championship series for the Olympic berth. One weight does remain to be qualified by the U.S. 17 of the 18 weight classes will include American wrestlers. Who's left? Well, that indeed is our next story. Justin Ruiz has traveled with Bunch around the world to China to the Olympic Games qualifier. 2005 bronze medalist was attempting to qualify the U.S. at 211 pounds in Greco-Roman. Ruiz lost his only bout of the tournament, dropping a 3-period match to 2010 Asian Games bronze medalist Chan Gun-an of Korea. When An was beaten in the next round, Ruiz was not eligible for the repechage rounds and was eliminated. The final opportunity for the U.S. to qualify the weight will be in Helsinki, Finland, May 4th and 6th. At that event, an athlete must place in the top 2 of their weight class to qualify their country. Ruiz is scheduled as the U.S. entry at this competition, and of course will report on his performance in Finland next week. Here's the good news about the Olympic qualification process. The United States leads the world in having qualified the most wrestlers to compete in the Olympic Games. With only one more qualifier to go, Team USA has already established itself as a true world power in all 3 styles. Consider this. USA Wrestling is qualified to compete in all 7 men's freestyle weights, all 4 women's freestyle weights, and 6 of 7 Greco-Roman weights for a current grand total of 17. Kazakhstan and Russia are next with 15 qualifiers each going into the final event. Both nations have all 7 freestyle wrestlers, 5 of the 7 Greco wrestlers, and 3 of the 4 women wrestlers. Russia is considered one of the world's top wrestling powers, yet the U.S. has qualified more wrestlers to compete in London than even the mighty Russians. Next is Egypt with 14 qualifiers. Azerbaijan and Iran are tied with 13 qualifiers to date, followed by Cuba and Japan with 12 each, Belarus and Turkey with 11, and Georgia with 10. There are 59 nations who have already qualified at least one wrestler for the Olympics. Here are the top 20 qualifier standings by nation on a roll. All right, fans, although only a week has passed since the U.S. team trials in Iowa City, our U.S. Olympic athletes have already begun preparation for the Summer Games. Freestyle Team USA is winging its way as we speak to Azerbaijan for an intense training camp and a May 12th and 13th event, the 2012 Freestyle World Cup in Baku. Athletes who are training and competing in Azerbaijan include Olympian Sam Hayeswinkle at 125 pounds, 145-pound Olympian Jared Freyer, Olympian and world champion Jordan Burroughs at 163 pounds, Olympian and world medalist Jake Varner at 211 pounds, Olympian and world medalist Travel Delagnev at 264 pounds, plus Olympic trials champion Coleman Scott at 132 pounds. The women's freestyle Olympic team begins its training next week. They'll prepare for the Women's World Cup in Tokyo, Japan at the end of May. We will, of course, be bringing you all the updates as our Olympic teams prepare for their all-important event in London. Well, the news is just now out. The National Wrestling Hall of Fame announced the 2012 winner of the prestigious Dave Schultz High School Excellence National Award. Named in honor of the late Olympic and wrestling world champion Dave Schultz, the award recognizes excellence in wrestling, academics, citizenship, and community service. This year's winner is Taylor Massa, a high school senior from St. John's High School in St. John's, Michigan. He'll receive his honor at the Hall of Fame Honors Weekend in Stillwater, Oklahoma, June 1 and 2. Massa is a four-time Michigan High School state champion with a record of, get this now, 231 wins, no losses. Yeah, you heard me right. He was on the 2011 FILA Junior World Team and has won 2 FILA Junior national titles and 4 cadet national titles as well. In addition to community service, Massa has a 3.67 GPA and will attend the University of Michigan next year. I talked with Taylor.
It's a huge honor. This is one of the biggest, if not the biggest award I've ever gotten. I was looking at the list of the people that received it on the internet the other day, and it's the names on there are, like, just in the last 5 years, I remember off the top of my head, David Taylor, Logan Stieber, McIntosh. Those are some pretty big names, and just to have my name even mentioned with those guys is an honor.
Massa was selected from the 49 state winners and 5 regional winners. Our regional winners included, from the Central Region, Kyle Kretschmer of Tulsa Union High School in Oklahoma. Jimmy Gilliban of Derry High School in Pennsylvania, the Northeast Region winner. Southeast Regional winner was Rossi Bruno of Brandon High School in Florida. Jordan Rogers of Meade High School in Washington was the West Region winner. And congratulations to all of you from all of us at USA Wrestling. Congratulations to you on a job well done. Well, fans, this weekend and coming weeks will be continuing to bring you some of the many stories from the record-setting U.S. Olympic Team Trials event held April 21st and 22nd. With so much going on that weekend, we decided to share with you many of the moments that inspired, touched, and motivated the over 54,000 in attendance in Iowa City. The 2-day attendance record itself was a major story, as was the unbelievable effort by the greater Iowa City community in preparation and promotion before and during the event. Prior to the start of the trials, a press conference was held in the Coralville area where USA Wrestling Executive Director Rich Bender shared his views about the event's location.
I'd like to, first of all, thank the University of Iowa. I'd like to thank the Coralville, Iowa City, CVB, City of North Liberty. What an amazing job they've done to provide an opportunity and a platform for these unbelievable athletes to showcase their skills. Nearly 220 athletes are here this weekend, vying for 18 spots in what will be, I promise you, the most dramatic competition you've ever seen in your life. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank NBC for their monumental coverage of this event. They're allowing us to live webcast all the preliminary matches. There'll be 3 hours of one-day tape delay coverage on NBC Sports on Sunday and Monday. So hold on to your hats. It's going to be an unbelievable weekend. And on behalf of USA Wrestling, thank you for your interest. Thank you to the folks here in Iowa for staging what I know is going to be the greatest wrestling event ever staged. Thank you.
Josh Schomburger of the Iowa City Coralville Convention and Visitors Bureau gave the local perspective of the importance of the Olympic trials to their community.
On behalf of the local organizing committee, which represents the University of Iowa, the Iowa City Coralville area CVB, and the cities of North Liberty, Coralville, and Iowa City, welcome and thank you for being here. It's no secret that our goal when we started this process 18 to 20 months ago was to create an experience that's going to make it absolutely impossible for people like Rich and Gary to ever think of holding an Olympic trials in any other city. It needs to be here in Carver. It's the greatest venue in the United States, arguably the world, to see wrestling. And I think our fans have responded. We've sold over 12,000 tickets to both days, which has shattered any and all previous records. And anybody that is here for their first time, whether they be a coach, athlete, or fan, are going to experience a wrestling venue unlike any other.
ASICS has been there. They've been the lifeblood of the sport. It's been a long time, and they've been at the top of the game every year, forever. And I'll tell you what, now that I think about it, maybe that's where I've gotten my inspiration, because you know, I always want to be in the top of my game in wrestling, and I think that's where ASICS is and wants to be as well.
There comes a point in your life that determines who you are, whether you will lead or follow, whether you will fight or give in, whether you will win or lose, and what you will count as your victory.
Both of these guys are explosive, and it's not over. This is going to be a great match.
They inspired us and made us stop to think about our greater wrestling community. They may not have made the Olympic team, but were among the biggest stories from the trials. They announced their comebacks to the sport and/or concluded long and successful careers in front of a warm and understanding crowd. 2 past Olympic champions were registered to compete, and neither reached their dreams of a second Olympic Games. 2000 Olympic Greco-Roman champion Rulon Gardner's comeback bid ended on weigh-in day for the 264-pound division. Gardner, who had been a contestant on The Biggest Loser TV show when his weight reached 472 pounds, gave up his quest to make weight just prior to weigh-ins. Gardner got within 5 pounds or so before he felt he couldn't continue. At a press conference the next day, Gardner talked about his journey.
My journey pretty well, I think, started 2 years ago when I tried out for The Biggest Loser and I got on the TV show, and that's where my competitive fire kind of started reigniting itself. And as I left the show last year, I realized that I had more inside of me than just losing the weight and being on The Biggest Loser and trying to win the money of the TV show.
2008 Olympic freestyle champion Henry Cejudo entered at 121 pounds and seemed to be well on his way as he won his first 2 matches of the tournament. Cejudo beat both Earl Hall and Obi Blanc. Then the collective crowd sat forward in their seats as Cejudo met talented 2011 World Team member Nick Simmons in the Challenge Tournament semifinals. The series between the two is viewed as being one of the best battles of the entire weekend. Simmons won the first period 3-0, but Cejudo battled back and won the second 9-5. The deciding third period went to Simmons 5-2. Cejudo's quest had come to an end. With tears in his eyes, Cejudo sat center mat in front of the capacity crowd and did what so many have done before him. Signaling his retirement, he took off his shoes and in typical Cejudo fashion did not leave them behind in the center of the mat. He tossed them to the fans as souvenirs. Later, he gave a stirring press conference to talk about his effort.
I came back to this sport because I want to inspire people. The person who inspired me. For 21 years of my life, when I wanted to go, wasn't able to attend the Olympics because of the citizenship status. But I came back. And I can only say I'm sad. At the same time, I gave them all.
Well, three-time Olympian Dennis Hall made a comeback at age 41 at 132 pounds in Greco. He was attempting to be the only third four-time U.S. wrestling Olympian of all time. Hall went 1-2 in the event, losing to Chad Van Diver, pinning Donovan DePato, then losing to Marco Lara. He talked about his attempt to make another Olympic team.
Let's go out there and fight. So try and score points, man. You know, I think guys have problems with opening up and trying to get their body and trying to score points, you know. A little bit tougher, you know. But it was good. It was a good experience. I don't regret anything. Went out there, fought, you know, and it was good.
Well, two-time world silver medalist Tina George also made a late comeback announcement at age 33. She took 4 years off, if you recall, off the mat. A member of the U.S. Army, George had fought in Iraq after her career ended and was injured during service to the country. Although she lost both of her bouts at 138 pounds, she took off her shoes in retirement and told her story of getting her life back through the sport.
After spending a year and a half in Iraq and then another year in the Wounded Warrior program, you know, at one point when I couldn't even walk, I couldn't really take care of myself. I was walking with a cane, and I just thought I love wrestling. How much I felt like I lost. You know, it was a big loss for me from being a, you know, athlete, a top-level athlete, to walking around with this ugly hospital cane.
Well, at age 38, Glenn Garrison of the U.S. Army has been one of the best Greco-Roman athletes the nation has had for the last 15 years. He's won U.S. Open titles and made numerous Greco-Roman national teams as well. This was his last bid to make an Olympic team at 145 pounds. He lost his first bout to Army teammate Farouk Sahin, then won twice in the wrestlebacks before dropping the third-place bout to young star Kendrick Saunders. Garrison left his shoes on the mat in retirement to a standing ovation. To all of our athletes who tried to come back to such a demanding sport, we salute you and we thank you for your service to our Olympic spirit. Well, just days prior to the start of the Olympic trials, the University of Iowa unveiled an impressive statue of one of the greats, Dan Gable. It was right outside the front entrance of Carver Hockey Arena. Gable was the greatest coach in NCAA sports history during his time. He did his magic in that arena and will forever be honored outside the house, which we call the house that Gable built. Well, we have video from the statue unveiling thanks to the University of Iowa.
My current family, I have to thank my current family, and that's where I get, you know, I get emotional, you know, just, they're right here, you know, they're right here. And I'm not sure, I think there's, I said I was born into a family of 4 and the 3 passed on, and there's 16 here, well actually 15's here today, I think, is that correct? If you don't know. But they're right here, and I have to thank them a lot.
Well, the night before the Olympic trials, a special banquet was held at Carver Hockey Arena. Included in this function was a special reunion for the members of the now famous 1972 and 84 U.S. Olympic wrestling teams. These two teams had one thing in common: Iowa legend Dan Gable. Gable was a member of the 72 U.S. Olympic freestyle team that competed in Munich, West Germany, and he was the head coach of the 1984 U.S. Olympic freestyle team, which competed in Los Angeles, California. The evening was moderated by our friend John Bardis, the Greco-Roman team leader at the 2008 Olympic Games and one of the true leaders in our sport. Well, a special video presentation of the 1972 Olympic team was shown. Then Bardis introduced the members of that special team who were in attendance that night. Well, the 1972 Olympic team captivated the nation, certainly, with an amazing performance from the American freestylers. Claiming gold medals were Dan Gable, Wayne Wells, Ben Peterson. Rick Sanders and John Peterson added silver medals to the haul, and Chris Taylor a bronze. Next up in the night was the 1984 Olympic team, which was also recognized with a special video. One by one, Bardis introduced the members of that amazing squad. This was the first Olympic Games which the United States won any medals in Greco-Roman. Steve Frazier and Jeff Blatnick broke the barrier with Greco-Roman golds. Greg Gibson won a silver and Jim Martinez added a bronze. The 1984 freestyle team had an amazing 7 gold medals, with titles coming from Bobby Weaver, Randy Lewis, Dave Schultz, Mark Schultz, Ed Bannock, Lou Bannock, and Bruce Baumgartner. Adding silvers were Barry Davis and Andy Ryan. At the conclusion of the evening, Gable got on the stage and stood at the podium in front of all of his teammates from both teams and gave an inspiring speech.
This group here, counted up, it's minimum 50 world and Olympic medals. Minimum 50. And, you know, that's consistency, and that's what we're looking for, and that's what we have to have.
Each season, Liberty Mutual's Responsible Sports Community Grant Program awards $65,000 to youth sports organizations and school sports programs that demonstrate their commitment to responsibility in youth sports. Your organization could be one of our 20 winners this season. It's easy. Simply visit responsiblesports.com and click on the Community Grant Program. Administrators register their organization with the program, then reach out to rally parents, coaches, and team supporters to log on and review either the Responsible Sports Parenting or Responsible Coaching Guide. Then complete the quiz and showcase your mastery of the concepts. Every successfully passed quiz is worth a point that you can credit to your favorite youth sports organization or school sports program. Connect with friends, family, and neighbors to rally more support. The teams and schools with the most points at the end of the grant period win. It's that simple. Watch the leaderboard throughout the grant season, then rally more of your supporters to increase your totals. Liberty Mutual is committed to celebrating and championing youth sports and to financially supporting organizations that demonstrate their commitment to responsible sports. Join the movement and start earning points toward your community grant.
At the Olympic trials, the National Wrestling Hall of Fame and USA Wrestling celebrated the spirit of the Olympic Games with the unveiling of a new and exciting book. The Gold Standard presents a history of the 47 wrestling Olympic champions from the U.S. who've won 50 gold medals from 1904 to 2008. This full-color book features narrative from the Olympic Games, an honor roll of Olympic wrestling champions, with biographies, by the way, Olympic traditions, wrestling champions from the ancient Olympic Games, and a trivia challenge. It can be accessed digitally on the USA Wrestling and National Wrestling Hall of Fame websites in coming weeks. The book, however, can be purchased right now by calling the Hall of Fame at 405-377-5243. Again, that's 405-377-5243, or you can visit their website at nwhof.org. Next week, we'll have more features from the many other activities held alongside the Olympic trials. Well, the next major USA Wrestling national event is the annual Body Bar Women's National, set for Lakeland, Florida, May 11th through the 13th. National freestyle titles will be up for grabs in the FILA Junior, FILA Cadet, Schoolgirl, and Youth Age divisions. This is the qualifying event for the U.S. teams that will be competing at the FILA Junior World Championships and the FILA Cadet World Championships set for later this summer. The event will showcase athletes who will be Olympic stars for Women's Team USA at the 2016 Olympics and beyond. So mark your calendars for this important event. Well, it's time for our USA Wrestling Photo of the Week contest. The pictures are sent in by wrestling families and fans from around the country and also being considered for the photo contest page in USA Wrestler magazine, as well as for our USA Wrestling Facebook page. This week, our Photo of the Week is taken by Eddie Gray. Depicts 10-year-old Lawrence Madison from Knoxville Youth Wrestling scoring points in a recent tournament. You can have your photographs considered for our photo contest simply by emailing them to Gary Abbott at gabbott@usawrestling.org. Well, folks, we're running a little bit late. We appreciate you watching. For all of us at USA Wrestling, good night.